Welcome to the Indian Council of Medical Research Online Prescribing Skills Course 2020 for the Indian medical graduate. I am Professor Shuparna Chatterjee of the Department of Pharmacology, Institute of Postgraduate Medical Education and Research, Kolkata. Today I shall talk about prescribing for community acquired pneumonia and symptomatic management of cough. After watching this video, please go to the assignment section and answer 5 multiple choice questions which are given, and kindly give a feedback about watching this video. Why this topic is important? Community acquired pneumonia is a commonly encountered problem both in the OPD and IPD setting. We all know that CAP is a very common type of pneumonia and is usually acquired by infection which is gained from outside the hospital exposure. Inappropriate prescribing of antimicrobial agents for CAP has been observed, and there is scope for improving prescribing skills. There are a large number of patients who seek medical advice for symptomatic management of cough, and here too we have noticed that inappropriate prescribing of cough formulations have been observed, and therefore there is a need for rational prescribing. Now, the topics for which prescribing skill is needed as listed in the Medical Council of India curriculum is given in the left, and we have prioritized 2 topics, that is community acquired pneumonia and symptomatic management of cough for this module. Now, what are the learning objectives of this module? At the end of the module, the learner shall be able to prescribe rationally for adult patients who have been diagnosed with community acquired pneumonia using national or institutional treatment guidelines. Secondly, identify referral criteria to a higher center for further management in an adult patient of CAP. Finally, justify antimicrobial agent selection in such a patient. For symptomatic cough management, the learning objectives are: justify the need for pharmacotherapy for cough in a patient, select an appropriate agent for cough management, and finally, identify cases presenting with cough who need further investigation. Now, let us talk a few points about community acquired pneumonia. As you all know, community acquired pneumonia can have bacterial causes which may be either gram positive bacteria, gram negative, or atypical ones. It can also be caused by viral infections, and fungal etiology is also there. But in India and globally, the most common bacteria which is responsible for causing community acquired pneumonia is Streptococcus pneumoniae. Haemophilus influenzae, Staph aureus, gram negative organisms like Klebsiella and Pseudomonas are also implicated. Finally, atypical organisms like Mycoplasma and Legionella have also been the cause in some of the cases of CAP. Amongst the viral causes, influenza is the leading one of them, but please consider other prevalent viruses which can cause respiratory tract infection in the community. It is important for you to realize that if your patient is immunocompromised, additionally you need to consider fungal causes and gram negative organisms. Now, when you are treating a patient of community acquired pneumonia, you need to assess the risk of mortality in these cases by using several objective tools. Of them, the most commonly used tool is the CRB65. For each of the parameters in this tool, 1 point can be assigned. C stands for confusion, R for respiratory rate more than 30 per minute, B for low blood pressure, that is if the systolic blood pressure is less than 90 or diastolic blood pressure is equal to or less than 60 millimeter of mercury, and 65 stands whether the patient's age is 65 years or more. So, based on this scoring, we can assign different risk classes. Let me give you an example. If a patient has none of these parameters, then the score is 0, which indicates that the risk class is low and such a patient can be treated at an OPD setting. In contrast, if a patient's score is 3 or 4, it indicates that the mortality risk is high, and therefore, such a patient needs to be treated at the ICU or ITU setting. As an Indian medical graduate, you must select the appropriate antimicrobial agent for treating this CAP case, the appropriate route, dose, and duration based on the clinical status, the guidelines, and the local antibiotic policy, and kindly monitor all cases closely, especially clinical monitoring. Now, let us come to a case scenario. Mr. Ghosh is a 50-year-old male smoker who presented with a history of fever. Temperature was about 101 degree Fahrenheit with increase in breathlessness, cough with thick greenish colored sputum and mild right-sided pleuritic chest pain for the last 5 to 6 days. There was no history of other comorbidities, and also there was no history of a hospitalization or contact with any healthcare facility in the last 3 months. On clinical examination, he was found to be febrile. His respiration rate was 26 per minute. His blood pressure recording was 110/82 and his pulse rate was 96 per minute. When you auscultated the chest, the findings were there were bronchial breath sounds in the right infraaxillary region with coarse crepitations. Pulse oximetry was done and it showed 93% saturation in room air. Investigations were done and it showed that his hemoglobin level was 11.4 gram, the total count was 14,000, the neutrophil was 80%. The random blood sugar level and the serum creatinine were all normal. Chest X-ray showed right mid-zone consolidation, as you see in the figure on the right. Now, what is your diagnosis? Your diagnosis is community acquired pneumonia based on the history of fever, cough with sputum production and right-sided pleuritic chest pain. The investigations also suggested this diagnosis, especially the chest X-ray and the rise in the total WBC count. Now, does this patient need hospitalization? No. This patient can be treated on an OPD basis because the CRB score was 0 and his oxygen saturation was greater than 92% in room air. Please refer to the reference number 4 and 6 given in the reference material, which will help you in diagnosing and finding out the treatment algorithms for treating such cases. Now, what will be the management of this case? You have to start antibiotics, and antibiotics are targeted towards Streptococcus pneumoniae, the most common organism implicated. Outpatients have to be stratified on the basis of comorbidities and appropriately treated. In this case, there were no comorbidities, therefore, we have selected tablet amoxicillin 500 milligram, 1 tablet 8 hourly for 5 days. The duration of therapy may be extended to 7 days based on clinical judgment. But remember, you have to review the patient every 48 hours or earlier if the condition worsens. If the patient does not respond, then you have to advise hospitalization for further investigation and management. What are the other options present? In a case which does not have any comorbidities, you can also prescribe either erythromycin or doxycycline for 5 days, but doxycycline cannot be given to children. In a case who has additional comorbidities, say for example has got diabetes, has got COPD, in that case you have to give oral amoxicillin plus a macrolide like azithromycin, but the duration of treatment is 5 days. Please remember, do not prescribe corticosteroids unless other medical indications are present. Please refer to reference number 4, that is the Indian Council of Medical Research Standard Treatment Workflow for CAP. We have referred to this as for selection of the antimicrobial agents. Now, some points about community acquired viral pneumonias. The signs and symptoms of community acquired viral pneumonia often are indistinguishable from those of bacterial causes. But please remember, they often follow seasonal trends and there is high person-to-person transmission which is observed for some of the cases of viral pneumonia. Investigations for viral pneumonias are essentially based on national and international recommendations and guidelines. I have given the references numbered 8 and 9 which you can take recourse to for finding out the diagnostics which are required for diagnosing a case of community acquired viral pneumonia. The antiviral drug oseltamivir is indicated for influenza A, B and pandemic H1N1. Oseltamivir, the standard adult treatment dose is 75 milligram twice daily orally for 5 days. Adjuvant antimicrobials, especially antibiotics, are often needed because we cannot exclude bacterial co-infection or superinfection. But please remember, for severe cases of viral pneumonias, institutionalized treatment is needed because very often we will need non-invasive or invasive ventilation and carefully monitor if the patient is developing ARDS. Now, some of the viral pneumonias are notifiable diseases, therefore, you need to notify to the appropriate authority. And very importantly, you have to adopt appropriate infection control measures. Now, what are the criteria for referral to higher centers? You must know what are these important criteria. if the patient has frank hemoptysis, signs of respiratory failure like worsening hypoxia or hypercapnia, or if the sensorium is altered, that is the patient is confused or disoriented, or there is hypothermia or multilobar consolidation, then these criteria indicate that the patient must be referred to a higher center. Please remember that when you are shifting a patient to a higher center, you should give the first dose of antibiotic, preferably by the parenteral route. If not by the parenteral route, at least start by the oral route. Please start an intravenous line, preferably with 0.9% sodium chloride. Oxygen supplementation is to be given while transferring through a face mask at 4 to 6 liters per minute. But if you find that the patient is drowsy and has copious secretion, please call the higher center for help regarding endotracheal intubation and shifting in a transport ventilator. These criteria are important if you are treating such a patient in a primary healthcare center. Now, some do's and don'ts about antimicrobial prescribing. Please follow national guidelines or local antibiotic policy where it is available for antimicrobial selection. Single agent parenteral beta-lactam antibiotic like some cephalosporins are indicated for hospitalized non-ICU setting patients. If you suspect atypical pathogens or there is a history of use of antibiotics in the last 3 months, then a combination of an IV beta-lactam plus an oral macrolide is indicated. Please choose the correct route, dose and duration of therapy. Where you have got culture sensitivity reports, please carefully interpret the antibiograms and if needed, take the help of the clinical microbiologist. Follow the criteria for referral to a higher center. Some do nots about antimicrobial prescribing in CAP. Please do not empirically give carbapenems as empiric antibiotics. Do not indiscriminately prescribe fluoroquinolones as empiric antimicrobial therapy for CAP, because you know fluoroquinolones have got antitubercular activity and the prevalence of tuberculosis in a country is high. Therefore, we do not wish to give fluoroquinolones as first line agents for CAP. Do not indiscriminately prescribe multiple antibiotics which have got overlapping activity. Do not prescribe parenteral antibiotics when oral route can be used. Do not prescribe systemic corticosteroids in non-serious CAP patients unless there are other medical indications present. Do not rely solely on biomarkers for assessing response, say for example CRP or procalcitonin level. We now go to the second part of our module, that is symptomatic management of cough. Please remember some of these important points before prescribing for cough management. Large number of patients come to the OPD seeking medical advice for the treatment of cough. Please remember that cough is more commonly a symptom rather than being a disease itself. It is a manifestation of an underlying disease. Cough can be categorized based on the duration as to acute cough of less than 3 weeks duration, which is commonly caused by upper respiratory tract infections, which can be either viral or bacterial, and most of these cases these are usually self-limiting. Subacute cough is about of 3 to 8 weeks duration and often due to post-infection bronchial hyperresponsiveness, but there can be other causes, say for example gastroesophageal reflux disorder, asthma, upper airway cough syndrome and many others. And lastly, chronic cough, that means cough of duration greater than 8 weeks. Please remember that you need to thoroughly investigate cases of chronic cough and treat accordingly. In our country, where the prevalence of tuberculosis is very high, cough of duration more than 2 weeks, you have to consider and investigate the patient to rule out pulmonary tuberculosis. Few more points about cough management. Before prescribing, please consider whether the cough is productive in nature or dry cough. Secondly, please consider whether this is a cough of acute or chronic in duration. Identify and treat the underlying disease causing cough. Please remember to check for non-respiratory causes of cough. Say for example, drugs like angiotensin converting enzymes, ramipril, can cause dry cough or gastroesophageal reflux disorder. Cough should not be unduly suppressed unless it is causing significant clinical consequences, say for example, consecutive nights of poor sleep or is leading to vomiting or even leading to hypoxia. Symptomatic management of cough is only indicated in few scenarios and for limited duration, say for example 1 to 2 weeks only. Another important point is there are a large number of proprietary cough formulations available in the market. These contain multiple ingredients like antihistaminics, cough suppressants, expectorants and bronchodilator. Please remember, you have to choose any appropriate agent which befits your patient. Say for example, the patient has got only dry cough, then you need to prescribe a cough suppressant. If the patient has got a productive cough, then you need to prescribe an expectorant. Therefore, do not prescribe these multi-ingredient cough formulations. For the management of cough, there are several agents which are available. Mucolytics like ambroxol, N-acetylcysteine are mainly indicated for reducing the sputum viscosity and they facilitate expectoration. Expectorants are those which facilitate expectoration and guaifenesin is one of them. Cough suppressants or antitussives are centrally acting agents and opioids like codeine, noscapine, folcodeine, dextromethorphan. These agents are mainly indicated for severe non-productive cough. If a patient has got isolated dry or minimally productive cough, especially in the adults, dextromethorphan can be given. Cough suppressants, especially the opioid containing ones, are not to be given in children and more so if a child is below 6 years of age. Carbocysteine, N-acetylcysteine cause upper GI intolerance and therefore they should be used with caution in patients with peptic ulcer disease. Liquid cough formulations like linctors and syrup have a demulcent effect and they often provide temporary relief. Let's come to the take-home message of this module. For community acquired pneumonia, the take-home message is please assess and initiate treatment early, antimicrobial selection as per the national and institutional guidelines if available, close monitoring and referral to a higher center when indicated. For cough management, please remember it is a symptom of an underlying disease which you need to identify and treat. For symptomatic treatment where needed, if it is troublesome, it will differ depending upon whether it is dry cough or productive cough. Cough which persists longer than 3 weeks requires additional diagnostic evaluation. And kindly check the contraindications of drug before prescribing. These are the references of our module. For detailed drug prescribing information, you can use the prescriber's digital reference and also the National Formulary of India, or you can refer to other international formularies, say for example the BNF. For detailed treatment and management plan, you please consult the reference material. The acknowledgement for this module, and finally, thank you for watching this module. Please go to the assignment section and I hope you will now be able to answer the 5 multiple choice questions given. Thank you very much for watching this module.